Every milestone in a nation's progress is built on the strength of movement, connectivity, and vision. For 37 years, JNPA has been at the forefront of enabling trade and driving India's economic momentum. As the journey continues towards a brighter future, Sarbananda Sonowal, Union Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, shares his thoughts. Let's take a look.
This gives me immense pleasure to address you on the occasion of the 37th Foundation Day of JNPA. This occasion is not merely a commemoration of years gone by, but a proud reflection of an extraordinary journey of growth, transformation, and national service. Today, JNPA stands as a symbol of India's growing economic strength and maritime capability, playing a pivotal role in connecting Indian trade to global market. Under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, India's maritime sector is witnessing unprecedented growth and modernization through landmark initiatives such as Maritime India Vision 2030, Maritime Amritkal Vision 2047, PM Gati Shakti, National Logistic Policy, Sagarmala, and Green Port Initiative. During a period of uncertainty in global trade and shipping, JNPA stood firmly with its stakeholders and ensured that trade operation continued smoothly through proactive planning, preparedness, and strong coordination among all concerned agencies. At the same time, the progress made in improving vessel turnaround time, gate efficiency, cargo evacuation, and stakeholder coordination has significantly enhanced the competitiveness of Indian logistics and strengthened the confidence of the trade community. With these few words, I conclude. Dhanyavad, Jai Hind.
As JNPA celebrates 37 years of excellence, it continues to serve as a key pillar of India's maritime ecosystem, promoting trade, connectivity and economic growth through innovation, infrastructural development and efficiency. In this special feature, we take a look at the transformative journey of JNPA, its vision for the future, and how initiatives like Vadhavan Port are completely going to change the Indian maritime ecosystem. I'm now in conversation with Mr. Gaurav Dayal, IAS. He's the chairperson of JNPA and he's also the CMD of Vadhavan Port Project Limited. Mr. Dayal, thank you so much for talking to us here. So I want to start a little bit with JNPA. Now, it's recently achieved the 8 million TEU container throughput. What operational or what strategic factors do you think have played an important role in bringing about this growth?
So as you know, JNPA already has a capacity of 10 million TEUs and we have done more than 8 million TEUs this year. So a major capacity was added to JNPA when BMCT, which is the fourth container terminal, it got commissioned. So that has really added to the capacity, and with growth of trade, we are able to actually match the growth which is happening in the hinterland of JNPA and in Maharashtra and other parts of the country. So firstly, I would say that this new container terminal which we have added, and also the terminal operators that we have are world-class terminal operators. They have very efficient operations and they are able to match whatever the country needs in terms of trade requirements. So I believe this is 8 million TEUs is actually not the end. We are targeting up to 12 million TEUs with more efficient operations in the times to come.
So I want to talk to you about the current scenario, because the last few months has been extremely volatile. It's definitely not business as usual. In this volatility where the global trade has been impacted, can you share some behind the scenes on how JNPA has guided the Indian maritime system in these turbulent times?
So, as you've seen, when the conflict broke out in the Middle East, and there was a lot of shocks that the maritime sector had witnessed. So JNPA immediately realized that we have to step in and we have to see to it that the adverse impact on the trade is minimized. So we immediately, in consonance with all the trade partners that we have, we came up with new policies. We gave out SOPs. We declared some concessions on the standard containers. And then whatever that was needed as a port in order to facilitate and in order to ensure that whatever the trade needed at that juncture, we tried to provide almost everything. For instance, we had provided additional space to all terminals so that they could store transshipment containers. A lot of containers had got stranded, so some concessions had to be given. Many exporters, they wanted to take back their containers back to town. It's a facility that we provide. So in conjunction with the custom department, we provide that facility. A lot of things were done. We had to make doubly sure that because of the stranding of containers and because of the transshipment containers, the port does not get congested and the operations don't get affected. Because ultimately, if the operations had got affected, that would have sent ripples all around the world, because JNPA is connected to more than 200 ports. But ultimately, even in those turbulent times, there was not a major dip in the trade that we witnessed in JNPA. And if you look at figures for the past 2-3 months, we've actually grown.
Great to know that, sir. So, besides maritime, businesses have the options of rail and road to move their cargo. I just wanted to know some of the concrete measures that JNPA has taken so that you're able to boost coastal cargo vis-a-vis the other options that are available to businesses.
So one of the biggest interventions that JNPA has done is that we have started a coastal berth, which will exclusively cater to coastal trade. And then there are SOPs available. The tariffs that we charge for coastal movement is lesser. We ensure that there's priority berthing happens with coastal cargo. So all those facilities are in place.
So overall, global shipping alliances, they are consolidating. Just wanting to know, in this changing scenario, how is JNPA repositioning the tariff, the land allocation and service protocols? Because it's important to remain the default first call of choice for mainline vessels versus other emerging competitors across the world.
So what shipping lines prefer is efficiency, then reliability, how quickly we can turn around the ships, how fast the operations are. So if you look at the key parameters of JNPA, our terminals, they are able to perform in a manner that will surpass any of the best terminals in the world. So we have the best performance parameters, and the kind of facilities we offer, so we are not very expensive, we are highly efficient. Yes. The adoption of technology has been top-notch in JNPA. JNPA is placed in a very healthy fashion. And I think we are set to grow many folds in the coming years.
So obviously, every organization has some challenges. The same with JNPA. If you could just share maybe some of the recent challenges, significant ones that you've navigated in recent times, and more importantly, how could you explain the viability of the JNPA model based on these challenges and how you faced and overcome these challenges?
So if you talk about viability, I think the best way to make a port viable is to follow the landlord model. So JNPA is the first 100% landlord port of the country. And so what happens is, presently, if you look at JNPA, the authority, it is in a regulatory position. We are in a supervisory role. And the terminal operators, which bring in the best technology of the world, they are there to ensure that the port operations, they happen in an efficient manner. So I think a robust, good PPP ecosystem, if we are able to follow it, I think that is one way of making the port viable. And to ensure that that happens, we need to have proper regulatory mechanisms in place. Fortunately, India has been very forthcoming in this sector, and our first PPP partner was in 1999, the DP World, which came in as a PPP partner. and we have had very successful implementation of PPP projects. Now we have all terminals which operate within the JNPA port premises. They all are working on PPP model, and they are generating robust revenues for the port, which we reinvest in the port infrastructure. Also, we are able to some extent, finance the Vadhavan Port out of this. So viability is not an issue right now for JNPA. But more importantly, what we have to ensure is that we must facilitate the port operations properly. If some disputes arise, we should be quick in resolution of those disputes rather than allow the wounds to fester for a long time. Once we are able to fix these things, I think viability will never be an issue.
Important, sir. The flexibility and the fast movement is very important. You spoke about Vadhavan. I will come to that in a bit, but I just had a couple of more questions on JNPA. It's completing 37 stellar years of service to the nation. Wanting to know from you, what is the vision that you see for the way ahead to carry forward JNPA's legacy?
So JNPA has built a very robust legacy. If you look at the history of JNPA, how it transformed from a bulk cargo port to begin with, then it specialized into container ports, and now we hardly have any bulk cargo because bulk is handled by other ports quite well. So JNPA, by use of adoption of technology, by way of being the first landlord, 100% landlord port, by having the best procedures, we can say, in fact, JNPA is replicated by so many other ports in terms of procedures. So we have these projects going on like one nation, one document, and one nation, one procedure. The idea being that there should be minimized insistence on documents, and procedures should be so simple that the ease of doing business is promoted to the best extent. And JNPA has been at the forefront of this. We have been the flag bearer in this field. So JNPA has, I think it has set the path towards highly efficient port operations.
Absolutely. But Mr. Dayal, I want to definitely talk to you a little bit about sustainability and green initiatives, because that's very integral to JNPA and the working of the organization of the port. Can you shed some more light on some of the initiatives that have been adopted?
So we have been working on this for a very long time now, and our investment in green initiatives in decarbonization efforts have been immense. So we are in the process of implementing a project called shore-to-ship power, where when a vessel is berthed at our port, it will be able to switch off its engines and it will be able to tap into electricity, so the pollution is less. Then we have been implementing solar power projects within the port premises. We are trying to convert our truck fleets into electric vehicles, both inside the port, within the terminals, and also a lot many trucks that operate within the JNPA ecosystem. They also will eventually be converted to EVs. So we have had MOUs with a few organizations. For instance, we recently did an MOU with CESL, which is a Government of India company under Power Ministry, that is assisting us to set up power battery swapping stations and charging stations for the electric vehicles that might start to ply in the near future within the JNPA ecosystem. So a lot of things are being done. We are trying to ensure that JNPA is able to become a sustainable, carbon negative port, and we are able to say that we are able to run totally on highly green methods of consumption of power. So that all those projects are already on, and I think in times to come we should be able to say that overall, if you take everything into account, maybe we'll be carbon negative in the years to come.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about Vadhavan Port. Now, of course, this is going to be a game-changing port. It's going to be an iconic on the map of India and the world. Wanting to get the larger vision behind how you are seeing Vadhavan Port making an impact on the maritime sector and on the Indian economy as a whole.
So Vadhavan Port will enable India to trade with the entire world in a much bigger fashion. It will be 3 times the size of JNPA. When it becomes fully functional, it will be having a capacity of 23 million TEUs, which is 3 to 4 times of what JNPA is doing right now. So you can imagine what is the volume of trade that's going to happen through Vadhavan. And looking at the growth trajectory of the country, the requirement for a big port, a mega port, was being felt for a few years, in fact for a few decades. But then Honorable PM and Honorable CM of Maharashtra, they've been kind enough to fast track this project now. And with their interventions, I think we are quite close to starting the project on the ground. And we should be able to commission in the next 4 to 5 years some parts of it. So it will have a great impact, especially on the immediate hinterland of Maharashtra, because it will be based in Palghar. So I think it's going to be a game changer for the country, and we are totally looking forward to being a part of this mega project.
Thank you so much for your time and for sharing these great insights, and we wish you all the very best for the way ahead for JNPA and for Vadhavan Port. Thank you so much, sir.
Most welcome.
I'm now joined by Mr. Ravish Kumar Singh, IRTS. He is the Deputy Chairperson at JNPA, and he's also the CEO of Vadhavan Port Project Limited. Mr. Singh, thank you so much for talking to us here. So I want to start first with 37 years of JNPA, so congratulations on that. So, but would you say that it is a port that has kept pace with India's ambitions, or is it a port that has shaped them?
I would say that to start with, it was always the way India shaped the port evolved. And now we are in that position over the last 10-15 years where we are trying to shape the maritime landscape for the country and beyond also. If you see, this port started as a bulk port. So keeping up with the containerization demand, it reinvented itself, I would say, into a container port. And from a converted port, from bulk to a container port, now we are the #1 port in the country. So being #1 in the country, at the same time aspiring to be among the top 10 ports in the world also. So that is where the extension goes.
So one other maybe title that you have, which is where your operating margin is among the highest in India, and that is quite an envious place for any company to be, any organization to be in. Can you guide us as to how has this been maintained?
So there are multiple layers to it. One of the foundational layers is the kind of committed manpower and the resource that we have. And over the period, the business decisions that has been taken in terms of going for a 100% landlord port in first place. Then we were also among the players who adopted technology, who went for ease of doing business. So all those factors are leading to a situation where we are able to maintain volumes. At the same time, the revenues and the operating ratios are the highest in the sector.
Is there any one efficiency number or any one efficiency story that you could share with us that you feel really makes JNPA stand out from the rest?
So that is a difficult number. If you say it is one number, I would say it is a broad spectrum of things which have happened over the period. So in that, basically, if you see from the vessel side or the marine side, the vessel turnaround times are those numbers we are talking about. The berth productivity and the crane productivity are the number we are talking about. From the land side, if we are seeing, we need to be evaluating ourselves against the numbers of gate transaction we are doing, the trailer turnaround times that are there. And on the marine side again, there are efficiency factors in terms of the port equipment that are deployed. With the 100% landlord port model, we have the expertise from worldwide in terms of different terminal operators, so they bring in the efficiency.
How you have deeply embedded technology into your workings and the tech stack that we talk about, how much of it is like indigenously developed, or can you give us some insights in that?
If you see purely from the vessel side, now we have an indigenous vessel traffic management system. So basically what it does is navigation of all the ships or vessels which are coming to call on JN port. Now the navigation tool is totally indigenous. The data reporting on it is totally digitized. Again, the pilot boarding on the vessel is digitized. So the moment he boards, the system gets logged in terms of the time. And these times are critical in terms of our benchmark performances. So that is where the data acquisition through a digital mode is giving the purity and sanctity to the data in terms of what is to be monitored. So that is one area. Another area of indigenization is what we are now going ahead with is the interaction, having a uniform visibility built up on the port community system. Now with this enhancement that I mentioned, now it is called MSW 2.0, that is Maritime Single Window 2.0. So even on that, we are trying to put in a layer with the help from NLDS, logistic database and other portals to provide that trade, that kind of window that would ultimately lead to reduction in the cost. So that is another area of indigenous development we are presently looking at.
So, of course, all of these initiatives have impacted a lot. And earlier you were telling me about how there was a period of time when there was a lot of congestion, but things have improved. So what does the future look like? What kind of more efficiencies can participants expect?
So, as I mentioned, it is a cyclic process. Yeah. Somehow JNPA, because of its strength, has always been ahead of the curve. So that way I've been lucky to have inherited a system which is always ahead of the curve. So we are having a capacity of 10.5 million TEUs. We are already at about 8 million, 8.17 we did last year. We have an ambition to do 12 million TEUs in next 2 to 3 years. So that is where we stretch the capacity limit beyond what is on the papers. So we are quite hopeful that first is the benchmark of 12 million TEUs. On the efficiency side, we are doing certain digital initiatives which will bring greater visibility to the stakeholders to unlock their efficiency and in turn unlock the efficiency of all the stakeholders in the system.
Fantastic. Before I let you go, Mr. Singh, I have to speak to you about Vadhavan Port. Now, of course, it is going to be one of the most iconic initiatives. It's going to change the face of India's maritime landscape. I just want to know, how is this ambition of Vadhavan Port matched by the rigor of JNPA? How are you finding getting them together?
I would say it is an opportunity and challenge to whatever has been done and achieved at JNPA. Vadhavan should have it on day one. So on the digital front, on the sustainability front, on the technology front, the absolute datum would be the peak of JNPA that we are yet to see. So that is where Vadhavan takes off. So Vadhavan is supposed to take off from where JNPA and whatever initiatives we have talked right now, those would be inbuilt to start with. And beyond that, there are many ideas which are being discussed that, oh, we cannot do it at JNPA at this point of time. That is where that should be done on day one at Vadhavan. So that is how we look at it.
Fantastic. Well, sir, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and we are looking forward to the result of this leap of faith, and I'm sure it's going to be truly life-changing, path-changing, country-changing. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
From my interactions, it's clear to see that JNPA is continuing to strive and to drive India's maritime sector. And with the Vadhavan Port, the landmark port that is going to be commissioned very soon, it's clear to see that it is all set to place India on the global maritime map. Thank you so much for watching.